What else are they wrong about? Because the very minute I heard about this, I knew there was a problem. I immediately tweeted it out because when I read that they were going to have 10 billion worth of Bitcoin backing their US dollar stablecoin, the minute I read that, it made no sense to me. How could you have a stable coin that's stable to the dollar if you don't have any dollar reserves? If your only reserves are Bitcoin, which in and of itself is not stable, then how could you have a coin that stability is based on backing by something that in and of itself is not stable? And so the whole thing to me seemed ridiculous, but the Bitcoin community embraced this nonsense. And I think one of the reasons they did was because they were buying so much Bitcoin. They were claiming that they were going to use all this Bitcoin as a reserve, and all of a sudden now all these Bitcoin pumpers had a use case for Bitcoin. You see, Bitcoin can be used for something. It's going to be used as a reserve, just the way gold once was a reserve for fiat currencies. Bitcoin is going to be a reserve for digital currencies. And so the Bitcoin community really wanted to embrace this because they were getting all this money and then using it to buy up Bitcoin. The problem was the whole thing imploded so quickly because Bitcoin itself started to go down. But the other problem was the UST stablecoin was not just backed by Bitcoin, but also backed by these Luna tokens. And in order to defend the stability of UST, they had to keep creating more and more Luna and selling them into the market to buy up UST. And that immediately started a crash in Luna because the supply was exploding and the whole thing spiraled out of control and it just completely blew up. But this was an obvious accident waiting to happen. The only thing that surprises me is that this time it happened so quickly. The whole thing blew up in about a week's time. It wasn't that long ago where I first pointed out how ridiculous this thing was. Normally, when I predict something, it takes a long time for my predictions to come true. This is one of the quickest predictions that I've ever made as far as how quickly it came true. But you have all these people in Bitcoin now, they have a big credibility problem. Because if they didn't see this scam, what other scams are they not seeing? If the Terra Luna coin can go from $50 billion value to zero in a week, who's to say the same thing can't happen to Ether or the same thing can't happen to Bitcoin? There's really no difference. It's all about confidence. So people lost confidence in Luna. They just haven't lost confidence yet in Ether. They haven't lost confidence yet in Bitcoin. But a week and a half ago, there was plenty of confidence in the Terra Luna coin. So confidence is a very fragile thing. It can be lost very quickly. And the problem with lost confidence is once it's lost, it's very difficult to get it back. You only have one chance at that. And if you lose the confidence, it's all over. And that is why there's so much risk here. And I was watching a lot of people interviewed on CNBC, in particular the CEO of Coinbase. And she was asked specifically about what just happened with Terra Luna and their stable coin and what happened in general to the price of cryptocurrencies, because the market cap on cryptocurrencies has fallen from about 3 trillion at a peak to about 1.2 trillion now near the lows. That's a huge decline, better than a 60% decline in the value of all these cryptocurrencies. And so she was asked if this is significant. Does it mean anything? Does it change anything about their business model? Does it make you question your strategy or the whole viability of the industry? And basically she said, no, this doesn't change anything. It doesn't mean anything that we've lost 60% of market cap. It doesn't matter that Bitcoin has fallen so much. In fact, on its lows on Thursday, Bitcoin got down to 25,400. It may have even dipped below 25,000 on certain exchanges. I was just watching on one exchange and the low we hit was 25,400. Now we've recovered since then. We actually moved back above 30,000 on Friday, almost to 31,000. And a lot of people were very happy to see that because they thought that meant the bottom was in. I didn't think it meant that at all. In fact, as I'm recording this, we're closer to 29,000 than we are to 30,000. I think the 30,000 area used to be support. Now it's resistance. So it doesn't matter if Bitcoin can peek its head back above 30,000 or even go to 31 or 32,000. I think that area is now massive overhead resistance. The new support is around 25,000, which was established on Thursday, but that's not solid support. That's just the next target for Bitcoin. Now, it's possible we could be range bound in Bitcoin between about 25,000 on the low side and maybe 31,000 on the high side. We may be trapped in that trading range before the next leg down. But we still haven't had a brutal leg down. We still haven't had any capitulation that would make me think we've seen a short-term bottom in Bitcoin. Now, we're never going to see a long-term bottom until we zero out, but we can certainly see a short-term bottom that might give way to a larger rally. But I think we have to flush out all of the margin owners of Bitcoin, all the people who have borrowed money against their Bitcoin. I think they need to get flushed out, which is why I think we need to drop below 10,000. Not just below 30,000 or even 20,000, but a drop below 10,000 will probably signify that we've washed all those guys out, and then maybe there can be another rally, but it's not going to be a new bull market.